locations that I really wanted to conquer for my own well-being so I can kind of close that chapter in my life, you know. So that was one reason why I went back there. And I'll tell you what, I went in with a different mentality, and I told people, too. I wasn't, like, aggressive. I actually apologized to the spirits, too, there, and thought maybe I did something wrong in the beginning. I was more aggressive, or I was calling them out, and that was kind of the outlash I got, you know. So it's weird because I actually got EVPs of, like, Johanna and Pearl, and then I had a negative one, which was Scott, who came through on the recorder, which was really aggressive. And you can see it in that montage video when that we put together. But, you know, I walked away from that location feeling like I could breathe a little bit better. And, you know, there was times where it was like you felt everything flip and you felt that energy and that sorrow and that kind of. Then there was times where it suddenly felt like that negative attachment just rushed into the room. And then, you know, a guy actually got pushed forward, flew forward when I was doing the EVP session in the slaughter. We call it the Room of Faces in the back there. And, it just felt like it was different this time walking away from there, knowing that I was in a different mentality and I could kind of like shake that off this time, and I was more focused in the way I conducted it. So I think sometimes it's the way you go into locations and the way you like what you put out into the environment is what you're going to get back sometimes. As far as like, you know, energies and stuff. I get the one thing that scares me more than anything, and I really don't fear anything. Like you can lock me in a morgue, you can put me down into a mine shaft. It doesn't matter. I'll go the distance to try to capture like evidence into that like extreme realm. But it's like one thing that actually gets under my skin is the negative energy that can latch onto you, and I get more scared about kind of losing myself and being not able to fight off that kind of dark, you know, negative energy that's overtaking your well-being in your own life and stuff like that, where it's like good versus evil that you're fighting inside your own mentality, you know? I think that's what makes me a little bit more nervous in life. So I'm a little bit more cautious now how I leave locations, how I do things, and how, you know, I just go about conducting investigations. So to answer your question, Mackey's is scary if you go in with the intent. I go in with the intent of like letting my mind escape, not knowing what occurred here or what factual information happened in the past. I go in with, okay, I'm grounded. My mentality is this. I'm in a positive state. I'm going to go in. You know, hopefully I'll capture evidence. I put myself out there. I become open-minded. I open myself up to that whatever X amount of hours investigating, and then I close that door when I leave. You know, I say, thank you, you're staying here, whoever you are or whatever it is, and I'm leaving. And that's kind of how I do things now. And I've had a great response that way, and not as much things follow me, which I did have recently, which was kind of weird. And then, you know, so it just depends. Mackey's can be positive, it can be great, and then it can totally flip and be negative at times because of what the energy is there. So it's just like anything else, just be cautious, you know?
Yeah. No, I completely agree, and that's why I won't go, because I feel like I won't have control. Whether I believe that I'm grounded or not, I feel like I'm too vulnerable at this moment, because I've watched videos of other teams going in there, and I've seen things on TV, and I think that I'm influenced a little bit by that, so I'm not ready to go in there. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. It comes with experience, I've learned.
Yeah.
It comes really with experience, and it comes with, it doesn't matter how you can call yourself, like I call myself the most professional paranormal investigator in the world, which, come on, you know what I mean? It's like, whatever. It's not the truth. Nobody really is, right? So it's like, it comes with knowing yourself, period. Know yourself, know your body, know, like, what your mentality is and what your mind is all about, and then your surroundings and your aura. And it comes down to that, basically. Yeah. So if you know that, then you know what you're going to come out of there with. But unfortunately, you can try everything, and sometimes things just follow you regardless. And that's what I've learned. So it doesn't matter if you do all this religion or all these, like, whatever, you know, voodoo or hoodoo or whatever religion or ritual that you have or jewels that you carry. It doesn't matter. Some things are just going to attach themselves to you, and it takes a little bit to let go of that.
Yeah.
It's something that, and everything you've said, I've been intently sitting here listening, and I sometimes lose myself in these conversations because I forget that we're on a radio show, and I'm going, yeah. And I'm like, oh, crap. So, I mean, I'm over here like, wow, I forgot everything else I was going to say, and now I just want to talk about this. But it's so true in that you get out. We have a friend named Dom. Dom has the biggest heart in the world. He's one of my favorite people to investigate with. For the longest time, years, he never had a negative experience because he always goes into every investigation positive and has a positive conversation when he's talking with the spirits. Everything is so upbeat, wanting to give them a voice, wanting to answer their questions, give everybody. So he really just pumps everything up. When he finally had that negative experience, I've noticed since then, he's had several negative experiences because now that's in the back of his mind. And those questions creep in. And he starts getting into that, you know, if he's feeling that energy shift, instead of staying positive, he gets into the negative.
He subconsciously shifts into the negative because he's, it's defense mechanism.
It's just like everything else. It's like that beacon of light, you know. If you're always positive, you're going to draw positive. If you start being negative, you're going to push positive away and draw in negative. So what you said, I think, if anybody who's listening and is, I don't want to say a rookie investigator, but is looking for pointers in investigating, that's a huge point right there.
Yeah.
Stay positive, stay focused. Don't start questioning your tactics or what
grounded.
You're doing.
Yeah.
Just stay on course, and you'll stay safe for the most part. Again, there's always that wild card that you can't control. Something might just decide to come with you, or you go into a prison. It's not a bunch of nice guys in a prison. It's a bunch of people who are nasty when they're alive. They're going to be nasty. You know, it doesn't change.
Wait, you mean it's not like Orange is the New Black?
No.
When you go into a prison?
So we've consumed a whole bunch of time talking about the Nick Groff tour, but Nick is so much more than that too.
Yeah.
You have a huge passion with Drive Health and Fitness, which you opened up just a couple of years ago. Tell everybody about how the progress with Drive is going, and what does the future hold for Drive?
Yeah, no, it's actually great. We're in a huge transitional right now because we're maxed out at the facility that we're at right now. So we're looking for a big change coming up, and we're in talks right now with another one. So there's going to be a big transition coming up because the facility just can't withhold all the people that we have and our niche that we found in the industry. So now it's transitioning to the bigger step. So it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. But I never thought – I knew it was going to be rapid, but I didn't think in a matter of 2 years that we'd be maxed out at the location that we're at. And just, that's a huge thing to conquer. So we had it on a 5-year plan. We skipped ahead, and now we're on a 2-year plan. And now, it's like any business structure is 5 years. So now we have to rethink. And we're in a transitional. It's good. I was working on it today actually, and that's another huge project that I have going on, which is a good thing. So, but I'm super excited about it, and I'm there pretty much every day that I can get there. I've just been so busy that I haven't had time. So I've just been doing push-ups in my office, getting off my computer and running around. I went for a walk with my kids up the street because I was like, man, I was sitting at a computer forever doing phone calls all day. So I just try to stay fit. And I was outside for, I think, an hour today laying mulch down in my whole yard. So I had like a ton of mulch. And I'm like, I'm just going to go lay all this mulch down around all the tree beds and stuff. So that's what I was doing. It was nice out today.
Nice.
I had to work on my tan. I was getting too white over the winter.
Man, you must have still had the nice weather. We're stuck out here on Cape Ann in Gloucester, Mass., and it's like, today it was, 50 degrees out?
Yeah, but it wasn't so bad because it wasn't windy. Listen, let me tell you something about Cape Ann, okay? I'm going to enlighten you about Cape Ann. It can be 85 degrees, 90 degrees, but the winds are like 45 miles an hour, so it doesn't feel like it's 85 degrees.
Man. The winters must really stink.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, you go. You go. This is great. Awesome. So, I've been to Drive a couple years ago. I was mentioning before you came on that I had the pleasure to walk around the gym with you, and you did you were gracious enough to meet me and let me do a quick 30-minute video with you. And we walked around, and it was sort of like just as Drive had opened up, and it was a great time talking with you. A couple of things that you touched on in that video, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about now, were in your book, Chasing Spirits.
Yeah.
You, as a child, went through something that no child should ever have to go through with pretty much a near-death experience, right?
Yeah. I fell from a tree when I was 8 years old. I was waiting for my sister to come out from swimming practice. We would swim every day. We were like competitive swimmers, and my mom was reading a book, and I was a hyperactive kid, so she would just be like, all right, whatever with this kid, and I'd just be running around everywhere by myself. There would be no other kids, just me. And for some reason, this tree called out for me, and I climbed it, and what do you know, the branch is right above a cyclone fence, a rusty old cyclone fence. I shouldn't have even been there. And I reach out the branch, and the branch breaks, and I fall and rip open my whole left arm underneath it, and pretty much a half an inch. The doctor said I would have died right on the spot if I missed my artery, like a slight half an inch, I guess he said. So I was very, very lucky. I didn't bleed out like just instantly, right on the spot, he said. But pretty much what happened was I blacked out. You don't feel anything. Your body goes shock and you numb. And basically what I remember is blacking out, then standing up, and then seeing my mom still reading her book, and basically just say, "Mom, I love you." And then I passed out again, and then I got up, and then as I was getting up and I was walking to her again, because I was pretty far away from her, and she just happened to look up as I got up the second time, and I collapsed. And then I just saw her just like, just look at me for that second, and then I just blacked out. And then all I remember is opening my eyes, and I'm like, I just see all these faces just hovering around, like I'm on the ground. And it's weird because it felt like a floating moment. Like I was like laying on the ground, and there had to be like, if you're laying on the ground and you see just 10 faces just staring down at you, and that's all you can see is all these faces looking at you. That's what I woke up to. And I just saw like, I don't know, it had to be like 10 faces or whatever looking at me, and then I looked at them, and then I just kind of closed my eyes again and blacked out. And then I remember waking up in the ambulance for a second and then blacking out. And then I woke up in the hospital, and my whole arm was covered, and I was on a bed, and I just see my sister in front of me, crying or bawling her eyes out, and my dad or mom holding her or whatever. And the doctors were working on my arm, trying to save my arm and stuff. So 100 stitches later, 10 shots or whatever, couple months later, they had me back in the water trying to swim and stuff, so I can cause swimming's the best exercise for any injury that you get is one of the best. So they wanted to get me back in the water because at the time I had the fastest freestyle, 50 freestyle or 100 yard freestyle in the U.S. for my age bracket. So they were like, really upset that I hurt my arm on the swim team and stuff. So they wanted to get me back in there. And then I beat out all the records from after, 9 years old till 13, and I stopped swimming at 13. My sister went on to a full scholarship at A of U, Arizona, and she missed the Olympics by a half a second in backstroke.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, which, half a second in swimming is, it's a good amount of time, but, I mean, still, it was really cool. But, yeah, I mean, that was my kind of skating on thin ice, near-death experience. I remember, like 2 years later or whatever, that was one instance. But I was just, like, one of those kids that I thought I was invincible. You fall down, you get right back up. And so, like, it beat you to death. And, a couple of years later, I was swinging on a branch in the woods by myself in the back of my house. And I talk about it, I think, in the book. Well, I was swinging off a rock 20 feet in the air, whatever it was, and I come flying down, and I knocked myself out in the woods. I hit my head on the back of a rock when I landed in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I was so stupid because it's like I put all these leaves to cover up the rocks at the bottom in case I would fall, right? But I never equated in the weight of my body when I grabbed onto the branch that was hanging from the rope off. I swung from this huge rock in the air, and the branch I just took a branch, you know. It's like I should have taken something metal so it doesn't snap,